provinces are trying to speak up, and Premier Mo from Saskatchewan has been very vocal and the leader in a lot of those conversations. And he was very clear that Saskatchewan wasn't going to be collecting or giving any carbon tax money over to the federal government. He said, this is a stupid policy. It's unconstitutional. We're not doing it. And well, Trudeau is starting to put the pressure on him. And this is what he had to say about that today.
We're going to continue to deliver the Canada Carbon Rebate to families right across Saskatchewan, despite the fact that Premier Mo is not sending that money to Ottawa right now. Canada Revenue Agency has ways of ensuring that money that is owed to them is eventually collected, and we have faith in the rigorous, quasi-judicial proceedings that the Canada Revenue Agency uses. I don't know about you, but having an argument with CRA about not wanting to pay your taxes is not a position I want anyone to be in. Good luck with that, Premier Mo.
Ridiculous. And I love how smug everyone is. They're like, we're going to send the CRA after you, which is supposed to be a nonpartisan entity, by the way.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be at the beck and call of the Prime Minister. But love that he's trying to use a corporate entity, a crown entity as a threat.
Yeah. And that's kind of what we're seeing, not just in Canada, but we're seeing that across a lot of these governments across the world, where they're starting to weaponize
taxation,
but as well as other entities that are supposed to be separate from the government arm to go against their political opponents, to go after those who don't agree with them, like we've seen with the DOJ in the States, the FBI and the CIA being weaponized by Joe Biden to go after Donald Trump. This is starting to become a normal thing to do in Western politics at this point, and I hate that it's being normalized. And this is Trudeau doing the Canadian version of that. The CRA is going to come for you. And CRA, this is a CTV news article coming out of Regina. It's the CRA to audit Saskatchewan for not paying carbon levies on home heating. Mo said the agency has indicated it will look at Saskatchewan's books to see how much the province owes in levies that weren't paid to Ottawa. They will ask if they can look at the submissions we've made and for us to submit money they estimate we may be owed, he told reporters. And we don't believe there's any dollars that are owed. The Saskatchewan Party government decided earlier this year to not remit the federal carbon price on natural gas, a move that breaks federal law. Mo invoked the measure after Prime Minister Justin Trudeau exempted users of home heating oil from having to pay levy, and move largely seen as a politically motivated boost Liberal support in Atlantic Canada.
Yeah. See, this is the problem, though, is that we exist in a federal system where the provinces under Section 91 and 92 of the Constitution Act, they have jurisdiction over certain things, and then the federal government has jurisdiction over certain things. One's not subservient to the other. They're not supposed to be, the overlord that is now shaking down the provinces for money. Like, that's not how this was envisioned. And they weren't supposed to be, the grand poobah of Canada. So this is going to be really interesting to see how this hits the courts, because under our Constitution, they should have equal footing here. So I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't know if they're going to try and put it under national defense and security, because they're trying to claim that the climate crisis is now an issue of national defense. And that would be a stretch on a good day, but I think that's probably how they're going to try and do this, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, that will be the play, and there's been many articles that have come out talking about how that is kind of the play in general that is being made to do, so that they can legitimize potential climate lockdowns, to minimize the amount of greenhouse gases that are being emitted by people driving. That has already been kind of being pushed to kind of make this a national defense issue, so that they can make those things a reality.
Yeah, which is interesting, because I know we've talked about this before, about the electric cars and being able to turn them off remotely, and it sounds like a dystopian future, honestly, and it sounds like a conspiracy theory, but the fact that it's possible is what worries me. It's I don't even want the possibility, even if it's a 1 in a million chance that this is going to be something that's weaponized and used. We've seen too many unprecedented actions lately that I do not want to even enter the realm of that kind of possibility. But that's where I kind of see it. And even when you think about the current lockdowns that we experienced through COVID, there were still some people that were exempt from different things. If they had business that they had to attend to, they could fly, they could go wherever, they could travel in between provinces. And it's funny how that coincides with the rich and powerful. You know, they're important enough that they get special treatment. And so I see the same thing happening if they try and do any kind of climate lockdown or any kind of climate actions where you can't take so many flights in a year and you have so many carbon credits or whatever they decide to do. I totally see the rich and powerful just being like, that's cool. That doesn't apply to me.
Yeah. And it's these types of issues where people have had really huge problems with us and with this show, and why they think we've gone so far right is because we are talking about things that people legitimately can't believe that are actually real and could actually happen. And we're just simply talking about it only because we've seen the trend that's happened over the past 4 years. And we're like, it could happen. This is a legitimate thing that's being discussed. So don't call us crazy. We're just putting it out. It could happen.
Well, there was legislation actually put out, I think it was in the States, about having the ability to turn off electric vehicles.
By 2035.
Yes. Yep. That's a real piece of legislation that you can go find and look up. And as soon as I saw that, I went, yikes. Like, actually, yikes. So it's out there. And then if you've watched Upload on Amazon, it's hilarious. I love that show. And one of the things that happens is that he's fighting a corporate entity with his product, and they basically hijack the systems in his car, the autopilot in his car, and kill him.
Yeah.
And it's actually a comedy, but, and I'm not giving too much away because it all happens in the first episode, but that's what I look at. I'm like, oh crap, that's the future we could get to. And that to me worries me.
Absolutely. Yeah. And coming back down to the CRA being weaponized and threatened with Premier Mo, and the fact that conversations are already happening where the CRA has already come knocking saying, hey, we want to look at these books, see what you owe. And he says, we don't owe anything from as far as we're concerned. As you said, this is clearly going to go to the courts. This will be dragged out. And I'm curious, even if some way the laws favor Trudeau and the federal government on this one, I think Mo is going to try and drag this out to 2025.
I think so too. Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, this will go to the courts, and this will be such a long process that Poilievre will get in, and then it won't be an issue anyway.
True.
But it will be interesting to see that. And it's funny because I actually had a couple locker room conversations with some people who have close ties to the CRA, and they might not themselves work, but have, family members or friends or close contacts in the CRA, talking about how they're incentivized to actually go after individuals and go after small businesses and go after those folks who may not have proper legal counsel, who may just not have the records kept, who may have filed everything correctly, but can't produce records from 6 years ago. And they're incentivized and paid bonuses to go after these folks and bring CRA money. It's like, that's so wrong. It's so dirty, paying people, incentivizing people with money to go find money from others. Like, it just, gross.
I was talking to some business leaders about the CRA and kind of what's been happening to a wide variety of different business leaders and business owners I've been chatting with, and how the CRA just randomly comes knocking, like, hey, we saw this, and this, we want X amount of money. And there's like, what? And I was having this conversation. I thought it was really interesting because the way this conversation went was like, you don't mess with the IRS, they will put you in prison. But the CRA, in comparison to the IRS, is a joke. And I'm like, talk to me. There's like, we have a connection who operated an unregistered business for 7 years, didn't report any money on taxes. CRA finally can call and like, hey, you have an unregistered business, you owe X amount of money. He was like, guys, we know I don't have that money, so how about I pay you X, call it a day? And they're like, sure, close the case.
No way.
Yeah. Like, that's, like, this guy was like, and we're talking like high six figures of money that this man owed. And he said, how about I just give you this? And it was, let's just say, a fraction of the cost. And there's like, works good enough for us. Moving along. Like this, they are nothing but henchmen who just will take any type of payment that they can get. And they are incentivized, you said, to also close cases as fast as possible. So if you don't have legal counsel, if you're one of these people that they're going to pick on, it is probably in your best interest to take a chapter out of Premier Mo's book and just stretch it out as long as you can. Make their life really hard in terms of just, oh, I forgot. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I missed that detail there. Yeah. I'll resend you this, or whatever you can do to delay the process and make it really hard on them. They'll just eventually just move on.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I'm just like, we talk about the CRA enough on this podcast that my books are immaculate. Yeah. Like everything is digitized. Every decimal's in the right spot. I was like, I am not risking it.
I hear you, brother.
Everything is perfect. So, and we have it for all the years going back. So got that all on a Google Drive so that it can't disappear either.
Yeah. That was electric, wasn't it? Well, we enjoyed it. Hope you did too. If you did, you can check this video out here to the top right corner right near my window. Get over. There it is right there. And if you liked that, you can also check this one right here. We love you. Have a good one. Peace out.